Have you been in a toxic or narcissistic relationship more than once? And at this point, you're just like, I just keep attracting the wrong people. Like, what is it about me that I keep attracting toxic relationships? Well, you're in the right place, because in today's episode, I'm going to teach you about 5 traits that possibly does put a target on your back for toxic or narcissistic people. But don't worry, I'm not just going to tell you about those traits, but I'm going to tell you what you need to do to resolve this matter so that you don't find yourself in more toxic or narcissistic relationships. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Naila Abdullah. I'm a mental health therapist turned toxic relationship coach. And after overcoming my own personal experiences with toxic and narcissistic relationships, family, romantic, you name it, I'm now on a mission to help women like you heal and rebuild yourself after the impact of a toxic and narcissistic relationship. And most importantly, I am equipping you with the tools that you need, the support that you need, the guidance that you need to make sure you don't end up in another situation like that again. So if that sounds like something that you need or you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe, and let's get into this topic. The first trait that you have that might be attracting toxic relationships, toxic partners, is that you apply your rules and standards to the wrong people. What do you mean by that, Naila? We all have certain rules and laws that we live by, right? For example, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. If you help me, I help you. If you want to be my friend, I'll be your friend too. Now, typically this works out okay in normal situations with generally healthy people. However, when you come across or someone narcissistic or toxic crosses your path, when you come across these types of people, these rules and standards that you have cannot apply to them. Okay? And that is one of the mistakes people make. So it's not about changing who you are, but it's about having the discernment about who to apply these rules and standards to. Let me give you an example. The rule of if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. We should all be kind to one another in this world. However, when you are dealing with someone who's manipulative, their niceness to you, their kindness to you is an investment in you. They are investing in you because they know what they have prepared for you in the future. They are setting you up. Now, this may sound paranoid for people who are not familiar with these types of people. If you're new to this type of information, it's not paranoid. You're not being paranoid for listening to this. You're not being paranoid for realizing this. You are being wise. I always give the example of animals, right? If you find a snake in the wild, a cute baby snake that just hatched out of the egg, and you find a puppy, right? They're both babies. You are going to treat both of those creatures differently. You may pick up the puppy, you may want to bring it home, you may want to take it to the vet and to nurture it. You may even want to keep it as a pet, right? But you're not going to treat that baby snake in the same way. Now, does that make you suddenly a bad person? No. It just means that you understand that these are 2 different creatures and you have to apply different standards and different rules to them. That is the same way when we're dealing with human beings. We are under this falsehood that when we're dealing with humans, it's all the same. No. It's the same thing if you are out in the wild dealing with in the animal kingdom, right? You have to treat different creatures differently, and you have to treat different humans differently. So one of the traits that you have that may cause you to attract toxic people is they see that you have very strong morals, very strong rules and standards that you are loyal to, that you live by, and they see that, oh, I might be able to exploit that, because even if I act up, even if I do wrong, she is still going to say, well, he did help me here, or well, he was nice to me here. She's not going to immediately cut me off and say, no, no, no. She doesn't have those boundaries because she doesn't realize that there are people that will invest in you in order to hurt you in the long term. The second trait that might cause you to attract toxic relationships is that you are very much concerned about looking like the bad guy. You don't want to seem unreasonable. Let me give an example. you are dating, you see traits that in this person that is kind of raising a red flag for you, but it's not anything big. I call it the big bang. If you haven't read my guide yet, the 3 mistakes I made with toxic relationships and how you can avoid them, it's in the description box below. That's one of the things I talk about, is the big bang, right? The big bang about you need something major to happen in order to remove someone from your life, or to end a relationship, or to just distance yourself, right? They know that you are going to allow the little small hurts, the little small things, because you were so concerned with looking like the bad guy, with looking like, oh, she's just crazy, she's just unreasonable, she's just paranoid. You're so concerned with what they will say about you. You're concerned with what other people may think about you, and they will use your fear of people judging you against you. They will exploit that. They will exploit that fear that you have. When you become so confident in yourself, they lose that. They lose that weapon. They can't use that against you anymore. I highly encourage you to be comfortable trusting your gut, trusting your intuition. And as a believer, I believe it's God speaking to us saying, this is not right. Just because you can't explain it, just because you can't explain it, if a friend or a relative said, well, why did you cut them off? Or why did you leave, stop dating them? Or why did you distance yourself? Whatever it is, don't be afraid that you can't explain it. Okay? Trust that something is not right, because really in life, when something is for you, even if you put a pause on something, if it is for you, if God wants it for you, you are going to find your way back to it, or it will find its way back to you. So you don't have to fear that you are going to ruin something because you put a pause on it because something didn't feel right, or you're starting to see things that maybe is not huge, right? But they're little things that doesn't feel right. Be okay with putting a pause when something does not feel right until it does feel right. And if it never feels right, then you stay away. The third trait that you may have that attracts toxic relationships is that you value the maintenance and the longevity of the relationship with that person more than your well-being, right? So as you are meeting people, you are getting to know them, you're maybe dating, you are attracting certain types of people that sees that you value relationships more than anything. You value being in a long-term relationship more than anything. This is something that I experienced personally. I'm not going to say the first couple years of the relationship there were no problems, but the problems were sporadic, right? They were stretched out, right? They were far apart, right? They became more as time went on. But where I went wrong was, oh, well, it's been years now. I can't just let it go. And because it had been years, I did not want to lose that time because I was so fixated on having a long-term relationship. I had admired that my parents were together for decades, and that was something that was very important to me. Where I went wrong is that I almost worshiped that. And that is something that you have to be cognizant of, is that sometimes we want something so bad, we almost worship it and we completely lose sight of everything else. What's most important is making sure that you are in a healthy environment. And if that means that you have to start over, which I know a lot of women don't want, a lot of women want stability and they don't want to start over, but your health, your well-being is much more important than keeping a relationship going, especially when it's a toxic or narcissistic relationship. People who are narcissistic, people who are toxic, people who are manipulative, they evaluate you. They evaluate your whole being, your mindset, your values. They know when you value something so much, and they're going to find a way to exploit that. So they see that you worship a long-term relationship, like that's your ultimate goal. They're going to find ways to string you along, to keep you attached, to make you feel like, well, at least I'm in a long-term relationship. So the solution to that is to release that. Release that need. It is something that you can want, but do not worship it. Do not allow it to be more important than your well-being. The fourth trait, and this is a big one, the fourth trait you may have that may be attracting toxic relationships is that you are looking for a project instead of a partner. Write that one down. You are looking for a project instead of a partner. You are looking for someone that you can build up, that you can fuel, that you can pour into, right? That you can help them with their difficulties and help them to be a better person, help them to achieve their goals, instead of looking for a partner. Now, in any partnership, any healthy partnership, of course you want to build each other up, but that's the key, each other. Not where you're being torn down or you're being given fake support, right? Fake support. We'll get into that in a minute because I think you need to hear that one. Fake support, but you're focused more on building them up. There's a reason for that, and I do have a video about why strong women tolerate toxic partners, something along those lines. I'll try to remember to put it in the description box below, but go to my channel and look for that. There's a reason women look for projects instead of partners. We're not going to go too far into that now, but that is one of the traits that keeps you attracting toxic relationships. Manipulative people see that that is a trait of yours, and they're like, bingo, I'll be a project for you, and they will take, suck you dry, take. They'll be more than okay to be your project, right? Because they are being taken care of in whatever capacity. It may not be financial, it may be emotional, whatever it is, but they like the fact that you are supplying them with all the attention, all the energy that they want. The solution to that is to recognize when you have a project versus when you have a partner. And if you make a mistake and you pick a project instead of a partner as you're dating, be okay with putting a pause. Be okay with saying, you know what, I'm sorry, but this is not it. Or giving them the opportunity, because maybe sometimes you might be crippling them, right? Because you're doing too much. So take a step back. Give them an opportunity to be a man. Getting into a relationship is not about getting a project. It's about getting a partner where you are complementing each other, where you are building each other up. And not building each other up and ripping you down, like I spoke about before, fake support, right? There are people, manipulative people, again, they're very good at this. They will pretend to support you. They will pretend to support you verbally. They may even do things for you. They may even give you money, buy things, whatever it is. They may give you fake support just to convince you, I'm a good person, I supported you, but then sabotage you on the other end. You need to be able to recognize that. You need to be able to void the support they gave you. Okay, void the support they gave you when you see that they're sabotaging you. Don't allow people to have access to you and still be connected to you just because they did some nice things for you. Being nice to you does not give anyone a pass to break you and to sabotage you. The fifth trait that you may have that may be attracting toxic relationships is that you give people a pass for their bad behavior because of their traumatic past. Okay? You may know things about this person's past, what they went through either during their adulthood or their childhood. You have sympathy and empathy for what they've been through, and maybe you really do see a connection between their traumatic past and the way that they behave now. That's not your responsibility. There is never a justification for you being mistreated. What that says, this is the mindset shift that has to be made as you are healing and changing and evolving so you don't end up in another toxic relationship, is you have to say, I am sorry for what you went through. These are the ways that I can support you. These are the ways that you can support yourself, but there's never a good enough reason for me to be mistreated. Okay? And if they are genuinely good people and they want a healthy relationship, they will understand that and they will work on themselves and they will access and tap into all the supports that are out there in the world within your home to heal from their trauma and make sure that they don't allow that trauma to affect you if they want a healthy relationship. People who are toxic and narcissistic, that's not their goal. They don't want a healthy relationship. So they won't really make an effort with what you present to them. They might pretend, some of them will pretend, but they won't make a genuine effort to change. And that is your sign to head out the door. You have to remind yourself that someone's traumatic past and their current destructive behavior, if there's a correlation there, it may explain their behavior, but it does not excuse their behavior and the way that they treat you. I hope that this episode was helpful for you. If you relate to any of what we discussed today, I highly recommend that you watch this again, you take notes, you study it and relate it back to yourself. That is how we heal. That is how we grow. I am highly against people searching for information, being information junkies, but not doing anything with it. Implement the knowledge that you are gaining, apply it to your personal situation, and allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to heal, allow yourself to have the opportunity to have healthy relationships, new healthy relationships, where you are not distracted with chaos and conflict and brokenness anymore. That is not the reason God put you here. You have a purpose here, so don't allow yourself to be distracted. If you are still in the process of working on yourself, or you want to start working on your healing journey, why don't you join my email community? I stay in touch with my email community. I give tips, I give information, I give priority access to different projects that I have going on. So go ahead and click the link in the description box below. It's free to join. Don't worry, I won't email you every day, but we will stay in contact, and you also have the option to email me back if you have any questions. Again, thank you so much for watching this episode. Go ahead and share it with someone who you think also might need to hear this, and I'll see you in the next episode.